Bloodcurdling, two-sentence horror stories by artificial intelligences. I used to love spending time with my little brother at his playhouse every night. But now I'm all alone in my room, alone with only the sounds of our mother's voice and his wails, and nobody is listening. As you read the news, you'll start to wonder if the news story was actually true. After all, what was the news story about the giant mushroom cloud? My children laughed hysterically as they were forced into a world of pure fantasy, as they were exposed to a terrifying array of demons and witches. As they were overcome with despair and fear, I told them to remember that they should be careful what they wish for. They were all smiles, smiling as they performed the same choreographed dance for everyone. Their joy turned to horror when their bodies began to fall from the sky. I was very surprised when the doctor told me it's been 3 weeks since my daughter was born. It's been a month now. I just have to go back in time and clean up the mess. I took my son into the forest and shot him right in the head. I later found out his head was missing. As I stood in front of the window, I looked around, watching the monsters that were creeping in. I was about to start moving when the window opened and the monsters started shooting. I was told that if I let someone kill me, they would die in 1,000 years. That's why I'm having to do this to myself. When I left my home, I asked the police if there was anything I could do to reclaim my home. That was when they stopped me from fleeing. I have a feeling the cops won't bother looking for the body I murdered. I hope the cops won't bother looking for my wife either. As I laid in bed, I realized that I had been hallucinating for hours. I quickly checked to see if the voices were still playing, but then I noticed the bulge in my neck and realized I was getting closer. As I lay here on my deathbed, I thought I was free to relax. Why should I be punished for what I have done to him? They're the most beautiful people on earth. I've always been afraid of them. My doctor warned me not to take any painkillers. I ignored it and continued to bleed. I'm so happy my little sister is finally going to grow up. She just couldn't move in the mirror. Jan 22, I woke up in the middle of the night to find a note on my bedroom door saying, "Come home tonight." I opened the door and I heard my wife's screams. "There's no such thing as the paranormal," my wife said as she stroked my hair. As I pulled away from her, she said, "There's no such thing as the paranormal." After a lifetime of working at the local homeless shelter, I'm finally ready to be a father. I'm finally ready to be a father. My life changed when I saw a woman's face in my street view mirror. It was then I realized I was the one who had locked the door, not the other way around. My heart stopped beating when I heard my dad's voice coming from the window. I turned and ran, only to see it was nothing. My last wish was to see the stars. It took me quite a while before I felt one of them touch my face. I had always believed that if you lose a loved one in a love triangle, you lose everything. When I saw the bruises on her neck and the broken nose, I realized that I was right. Did the monster leave my room? I would not believe it. Did the scientists say you can see the Milky Way? That's because it's looking right at you. As I lay there, still unable to move, my stomach began to ache. It was only when I remembered the name of my baby sister did I notice how much of my skin and organs were gone. The death row inmate was serving a life sentence in prison. Their only wish was that they hadn't. I was surprised to find the same number of dead bodies on the street as my own. That was creepy, I thought when I saw the police car. The war was over and it was time for peace. The only thing keeping this war from ending was the desire for nuclear war. When my son left, he told me that he loved to troll the internet. I was mortified and didn't think how trolling worked, as trolls troll people's zips. Millennials are often mocked for being vain, for being unable to eat, for having a heavy stomach, and for being a woman. The internet laughed as a large wave of white light engulfed the crowded convention center. The day my son started screaming for his mommy, I called the police. It's been a month, and I still haven't found her. A boy said he wished he could hear the voices from the dead. He was in agony as a chainsaw pierced his chest. The night sky is filled with stars and the ocean is filled with water. In 1,000 years, the oceans will no longer be filled with water. I'm a professor at the University of California, Santa Barbara. I'm not in any way affiliated with anything that does these kinds of things. I have always been afraid of mirrors. But my reflection in the mirror says it's real. The kids in the class are always staring at me. "Oh God, they are," said the teacher. Knowing the police aren't looking into your crimes, I just keep going out of my way to get as many people as I can. As soon as I'm found, they'll get to the bottom of it, Al. The first thing I did after removing all of my skin from my body was massage the rest of it. The second thing I did after I removed the skin was remove all of the blood. The last thing I saw on the news wasn't the sound of my son being killed by a police officer, but the sound of the police car hitting the concrete walls. I just wish they would stop screaming. Out on the beach, I saw a sea of black. This was when I realized the crabs were looking at me. I thought it was cute that the mannequins could float through space. I was wrong. It is a shame that the first attempt at the new death ray was made in 2012. The human brain is supposed to survive, but I think we are now at risk of extinction. Was that scary for you? If so, let me know what scared you most. And be sure to like and subscribe to see the latest artificial intelligence content.